Hello everyone, my name is Juan TAMAYO and I am a senior researcher at the University of Burgos at the ICCRAM Institute. And today I will present a project that, as Andreas explained, was recently funded. The acronym is Diagonal, which stands for Development and Scale Implementation of Safe-by-Design Tools and Guidelines for Multi-Component and Hard Nanomaterials. Let me see if, sorry, so Diagonal was funded under the NMBP 16 topic. It is a research and innovation action, and it has not started yet. It will start on the 1st of May. It will last 42 months, and well, it has a total budget of around 6.3 million euros. Why Diagonal? Well, nanotechnology is a key enabling technology, becoming more relevant in many industrial sectors, and the global market size is rising, and also the family of complex nanomaterials. Still, there are a lot of uncertainties regarding the risk of nanomaterials for both human and environment. And it is important to remark that most of the research done so far has been focused on simple or pristine nanoforms, while deeper knowledge is necessary to understand the risks that multi-component nanomaterials or those materials with heterologous morphology can have. So based on this need, Diagonal will try to fill these existing gaps on risk assessment, risk management, and risk governance in the understanding of multi-component nanomaterials and also high aspect ratio nanomaterials. For instance, on the interactions between their constituents, the interaction between their constituents and environment, their release and fate, and how all these factors affect their potential toxicity. Well, Diagonal will be supported by 7 different demonstrators from pilot lines to large enterprises. These demonstrators are in different parts of the value chain, and they produce different types of complex nanoforms or harms, as you can see in the slide. And the industrial demonstrators will provide samples, industry insight. They will also apply developed safe-by-design strategies, and they will also help mainstreaming safe innovation actions across their value chains and sectors. Diagonal will develop customizable solutions that can be applied for nanomaterials and nano-enabled products and processes in different value chains, and beyond those that are the main focus of the project. How we are going to do this? Well, we will combine experimental and modeling research. We will follow grouping and read-across strategies, and we will integrate safe-by-design and life cycle sustainability assessment tools to make nanoproducts not only safer but also greener and more economically feasible. Okay, well, how we will start? Okay, experimental data will be produced employing the samples in the industry insight of the 7 demonstrators at risk assessment level. Also, data available already generated from previous projects or databases will be gathered when possible. And with this data, modeling and machine learning tools will be employed to develop safe-by-design tools, which will be very useful to understand and predict hazard of multi-component nanomaterials and harms and their transformation products. The combination of risk assessment and life cycle sustainability approaches will facilitate the development of more sustainable, safer, and equally functional nanomaterials, allowing to adapt risk assessment guidelines and risk management strategies, and to contribute to sector-specific recommendations to meet the needs of multi-component nanomaterials and harms in governance issues. Diagonal will align as well its activities with the efforts done by international expert bodies and agencies such as OECD or ECA, or by initiatives and projects such as the Nanosafety Cluster, the MALS Initiative, the Graphene Flagship, etc. The consortium will maximize its links with all previous and ongoing research activities developed in the field of nanosafety. This will be possible with the participation of a consortium of 21 European partners and 1 American. As you can see in the slide, we have a significant group of SMEs focused on the production of nanomaterials and nano-enabled products. Also, companies focused on providing these safe by design tools that will be developed within Diagonal. Companies have more focused on sustainability and business and promotion. We also have 2 large enterprises. One of them is carbon nanotubes producer, and the other one is a materials research center. And we also have 10 universities and research organizations. In addition, we have an advisory board with several well-recognized institutions. Okay, now I will give you some more detail on how we will approach risk assessment, management, and governance issues. In regard to risk assessment, and in particular to the physicochemical characterization of the samples that will be provided by the 7 demonstrators, well, a number of analytical, spectroscopic, and microscopic techniques to characterize nanomaterials are necessary to follow ECA recommendations. Well, most of them are available amongst the partners of Diagonal, who will support each other to apply a multiple characterization on all nanomaterials under the scope of the project. Also, in regard of the exposure assessment, well, exposure to nanomaterials is expected to be higher at the production facilities, being inhalation the main route of entry in the human body. Therefore, the initial exposure scenarios of the 7 demonstrators will be firstly defined, including the description of the sites, processes, operational conditions, workers' tasks, as well as risk management measures implemented. Then, monitoring strategies will be defined and executed with an initial identification of exposure hotspots with handheld equipment, and subsequently stationary campaigns to obtain more detailed information. In regard to hazard ecotoxicology assessment, on one hand, well, we will be performing research activities related to determining the human hazard. And for that, we will apply and evaluate the most advanced nano-tailored testing protocols and realistic human in vitro cellular models, as those that are shown in the slides. And on the other hand, we will determine toxicokinetics and toxicodynamics of multi-component nanomaterials and harms, employing different ecotoxicology model species as those displayed. In addition, we will determine toxic modes of action among the selected species using omics technologies. In regard of the modeling and simulation activities, well, we will employ reverse data-based QSAR modeling to predict, assess, and characterize nanospecific properties, toxicity, and adverse outcome pathways of multi-component materials and harms in real-life environments. We will also tackle exposure modeling that will focus on both the environmental and the occupational exposure to estimate predicted environmental concentrations in different environments, and also to predict inhalatory, dermal, and ocular exposure of the workers. Finally, we will also employ PBK modeling to determine accumulation of environmentally relevant forms in different species. Risk management strategies already developed under different projects, such as SAN, Guide Nano, Scaffold, and NanoRec-DOS, and RiskGone will be adapted to Diagonal. This will allow the design, production, and use of substances with safer characteristics to reduce the exposure of workers, consumers, and the environment. Also, through a sustainability by design approach, the impacts of the safe design strategies developed within Diagonal will be better understood, which will help decision making. In addition, specific recommendations based on the particular properties of multi-component materials and HANS will be built, following the STOP principle. This is strategic measures such as elimination and substitution, technical measures such as ventilation or containment, organizational and administrative measures, and personal protection such as respiratory, dermal, and body protection. Regarding risk governance, the obtained results will contribute to build a framework that is still under development, for instance, by updating hazard and exposure assessment guidelines. Well, regarding the nanotechnology market, Diagonal will exploit relevant links of its partners to maximize the outreach to the industry beyond its demonstrators. For instance, partners participating in nanomaterials OETVs, related projects, the Nanosafety Cluster, SASCHEM, etc. Also, the societal perceptions of nanotechnology, and in particular those related to multi-component nanomaterials and HANS, will be explored, addressing the responsible research and innovation principles and covering the general public and decision makers. Diagonal will work with sectors which are already demanding nanomaterials like cosmetics, health, and automotive, as well as others expected to rise notably in the coming years, such as smart textiles and inks. And well, this was my last slide. I would like to thank you all for your